Watch this now before they take it down. Quick, and share this as far as you can. Germany, pre-World War I, believed their sufferings were from the Khazarian Jews from the land of Prussia. The Khazarians were the bankers that were controlling all of Europe after the Spanish Inquisition through usury and interest. Their name was Rothschild, or Red Cross. Germany was prepping to be the economic superpower over Europe. The Khazarian central bankers of France and Britain saw this as a threat, but did not have the funds to take down Germany. They drafted up a scheme to use America to fund the World War I with the newly minted Federal Reserve. Britain and allies were borrowing money from the new Khazarian Federal Reserve, which eventually led America into war. Germany was tricked as the bankers planted a madman as a leader. Hitler was planted to scare all other nations to help the Allies and central banks. Hitler was a double agent working for the bankers and his own government. The plan was to get the entire West under debt. The bankers from Prussia were and are the real Nazi Party. Prussia was beaten by Russia in the 1700s and was forced to choose a different religion other than paganism. They chose Judaism and mixed it with Baal worship, or Baal, forming Kabbalism under Zionism. Those are the Zionists. They conditioned, brainwashed, and used Hitler to bring in the brown coats, brown shirts, and laws against the Germans. The Red Cross, or Rothschild dynasty, played all sides of Britain and the surrounding countries, including Germany. The Red Cross works for the Jesuits, or the so-called Khazars, who are also the Society of Jesus and also known as the Jesuits. Their heritage goes back to Samaria, Assyria, and ancient Egyptian pharaoh family bloodlines. Some historians have connected the bloodlines to even Mesopotamia and Gilgamesh, even to Nero and Rome. The Society of Jesus controls the Catholic Church under the current family of Orsini. Germany had loans with the Red Cross and was tired of their control. According to Wikipedia, this is what the world wants you to know. World War I's excuse was the German government believed that the onset of war and its support of Austria-Hungary was a way to secure its place as a leading power, which was supported by public nationalism and further united it behind the monarchy. A month after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie on July 28, 1914, the Austro-Hungarian government declares war on Serbia. Immediately, and within a period of 6 days, European countries declare war upon each other. But the actual records, if you dig deeper, was that Germany wasn't going to pay back their loans to the central banks. France and London both controlled Germany, and Germany wanted to be the superpower. And according to the German leaders, the Jewish Khazarians from modern-day Ukraine, that was Prussia, were the curse upon the world. They knew they were not the real Jews of the God of Jacob and posing as God's chosen. They decided, Germany, through the Gestapo's influence, to try and wipe out the bloodlines of Mesopotamia, or the sons of Cain. The Gestapo in Germany was actually under the control from Hitler, who actually was a turncoat for his own country. So even though the leaders of Germany wanted to get rid of the Khazars, unfortunately, the Khazars were one step ahead of them. 1 year before World War I, the Federal Reserve was created. The central banks of Europe didn't want to fund the wars. Once the war started, Britain borrowed from the United States. Brand new Federal Reserve since Liberty Bonds failed, which was public donations. Nobody wanted to go to war. Britain borrowed from the Bank of France and the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve borrowed from the central banks too as well. The central banks ended up taxing their own countries to pay for the war. The war was about taking control of the threat of Germany's growth and the start of a new world order. Germany knew it and knew the bankers were getting ready for it. Albert Pike, with the help of Adam Weishaupt, brought back the Knights Templars to recreate the Freemasons, whom did the dirty work behind the scenes as spies and Secret Service. They were similar to modern-day CIA we have now. The Germans knew they were cornered. Russia didn't have their back because they too lost to the bankers during the Bolshevik Revolution. Germany did what any country would do in such desperate measures, try and take out the bankers all by themselves who had them cornered. Germany lost. The bankers won. This was the beginning of the takeover of the world by the Khazarian Jews. Not the real Jews, the Khazarian Jews from the land of Prussia, modern-day Ukraine. One could argue they have had control ever since, as many of the top world leaders wear the Red Cross bracelet, symbolizing their loyalty to the Society of Jesus. Next on the list of the takeovers was the Middle East and Asia. The rival to the Orsinis was the Breakspear family, but they love each other, who have been silently buying up land and corporations in Asia. The next move now is to force the United States to start World War III as the new Germany 2.0, and Trump is the next patsy replacing Hitler. With the PSYOP Q promise or white hats and promises of Nasser and Jassera dangling carrots in front of the American people, the bankers have been able to keep the gun owners at bay while their controlled Congress files down their amendments and rights. The bankers used sex, gender, race, and the left and right political paradigm theater to give the appearance that the people had a choice, yet they continued to fight against each other instead of fighting the bankers, the real true ones who started all of this. Since the United States is a corporation and not a country, the education system has still been indoctrinating the children into the belief that the Khazars don't exist and Germany was the evil Axis. Now, they are using the same playbook to usher in the last phase of a complete world takeover. Albert Pike laid the groundwork in their lodges nationwide in America to make sure the public are still dumbed down and conditioned as they prepare the world for a war against Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Israel being used for biblical significance to get the world into a holy war. They have warped Scripture and have convinced the world that Jesus and their Messiah, the Mashiach, are now coming. This is the Armageddon crap we're hearing now. This is a distraction as they push their way for depopulation. As the Jesuits believe, they can build a utopia of Khazars commanding 500 million people to work on their land to preserve it for the Breakspear family. The Breakspears controlled Jesus' spear of destiny from the year 1000 to the year 1500. The next phase is shifting the wealth from the west to the east while they continue their efforts of mind control. The Nazis that exploited Germany moved after World War II to America during Operation Paperclip. Hopefully now you're caught up and understand what's going on worldwide.